on Zoom right now. And by the way, they're recording. So my name's Chuck Liddy. I'll get I'm kind of emceeing today. I'll get the presentation started. We're very lucky to have Bob Wall here from Smart Power. He will introduce himself. So I'm not going to introduce him, but we're very lucky to have him, and I don't know, there she is, Patrice, also from Smart Power, here to help give the presentation. So you got to click on the slide, get it to advance. The arrow didn't work.
The arrows don't work.
Yeah.
So where do you click?
And just click on the slide.
Okay.
Oops. There we go. So Sustainable Southbury actually works on many different things sustainable. And many people associate sustainability with environmental conservation, but it is that, of course, but it's also something much wider. If you set out to design the perfect town that you might want to live in, you'd want a vibrant local economy, you'd want an active arts and culture scene, you would want housing that people could afford, and of course, you're going to want clean air and water and a host of other environmental impacts as well. In total, that we work across 12 different categories of sustainability. Now, we're not going to talk about all those categories tonight. We're just going to focus on one, which is a clean energy. So just a little bit of housekeeping. As you all know, the webinar is being recorded. We ask the people on Zoom to mute themselves and turn off your camera until the Q&A, which will be at the end. And for the people on Zoom, please type any of your questions that you have into the chat. And yeah, we'll share the webinar and the recording after the event to everybody. I think Patrice is collecting names and contact information as we walk around. But with that, I want to turn it over to Bob, and I think you want to start with the recording.
Yes, we have a special video presentation for you. And this is created by our friends at People's Action. Sorry, I'm not speaking into the mic. Created by our friends at People's Action for Clean Energy. And Chuck, I'm not seeing the
Oh, it was there a second ago.
Okay, here it is. So this is just oops. Yeah, I got to be faster on this. There we go.
No, it's not a finger. It's all the counter.
Oh, okay.
I have older technology.
Here we go.
If you lived in Connecticut in 2011, you probably remember the October ice storm that knocked out power across the state for multiple days. There's nothing like being in the dark without heat or hot showers to get you thinking about a backup system. Well, you're in luck. Incentives from the federal government and state are making battery storage systems more financially attractive. Unlike gasoline-powered generators, a home battery system requires no setup when you lose power, has no risk of carbon monoxide poisoning, is quieter, and does not emit greenhouse gases. Battery storage systems can also strengthen the grid by increasing cost-effectiveness, resiliency, and equity. When utility customers install battery systems, all Connecticut residents benefit.
Gosh, I'd love to know how that works.
Home battery systems will store energy from the grid and discharge it when energy flow from the grid weakens or stops, allowing you to continue to power some of your most critical appliances. The battery storage systems on the market today have capacities of between 10 and 39 kilowatt hours and can provide power to essential home systems for many hours or even days depending on use. When paired with solar, battery systems become even more effective. They can store the extra energy produced by your array when the power is out, and your solar array can continue to charge your battery backup, providing power throughout a blackout. The Solar Plus battery installation keeps your power on by islanding or disconnecting itself from the grid when an outage is detected.
It does seem like a great idea, but I'm not sure that I can afford it.
Home batteries do cost thousands of dollars, but the good news is that federal and state incentives are available right now. If your battery has a capacity of at least 3 kilowatt hours and is installed in a home that you use as a residence, whether you are an owner or a renter, you can claim a 30% tax credit in the year in which it is installed. This residential clean energy property credit, Section 25D on your taxes, is good until the end of 2032, and then it will be phased out. There is no limit to the credit, but the credits are non-refundable and so can only be used to decrease or eliminate tax liability, though unused portions of the credit may be carried forward in future years.
Okay, but you'd mentioned something about a state program.
If you want to take advantage of the state of Connecticut rebates, you need to be an Eversource or United Illuminating customer and be willing to share your storage system with the grid. The program, called Energy Storage Solutions, provides an upfront incentive and a performance incentive. If you purchase and install qualifying systems, you will be eligible for a rebate of $200 per kilowatt hour of battery capacity, up to 50% of the cost, with a maximum incentive per project of $7,500. Higher incentives are available for customers who meet low income limits, with the upfront incentive being $400 per kilowatt hour. For those who live in underserved communities, the upfront incentive is $300 per kilowatt hour. The performance incentive is received after each performance incentive season for the first 10 years, and it is based on the average power your system provides to the grid during critical times. Imagine that the electric company pays you.
So how do I share my system with a utility?
To participate in the program, you must allow your system to discharge evenly between 3 and 8 p.m. daily during summer and winter events. The utility will send your device a signal the day before and then discharge up to 80% of your battery over a period of 5 hours per day. No matter the time of year, they won't draw power from your battery 2 days before a predicted extreme weather event, so you'll be charged up and ready to go if the power goes out. To learn more, visit pacecleanenergy.org.
Oops. Yep. Miracle. Hello again, folks. Again, my name is Bob Wall. I'm the Vice President of Smart Power. We are a nonprofit marketing organization that was founded here in Connecticut over 20 years ago. Headquarters now is in Arlington, Virginia. We've managed hundreds of clean energy campaigns with communities, including Southbury for Solarize and the Clean Energy Communities program. We've done programs throughout the country and even in India. The program we're here to talk about tonight is called Power Smart. And just in a nutshell, it's a community-based 20-week campaign, fairly similar to Solarize. But in this case, we're promoting residential battery storage plus solar. So our intended audience is both existing solar owners and non-solar owners. The program is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy, and we're part of a team that's led by academic partners at Yale and NYU Stern School of Business. They'll be conducting a study based on our campaigns and other issues, including EVs and energy efficiency. But Power Smart here in Connecticut is focused exclusively on battery storage together with solar. And Southbury is lucky to be one of only 28 towns that will be selected for this campaign. We're currently in our second round of towns. We've done 6 previous campaigns in places like Brookfield, Newtown, Guilford, Cheshire, Brantford, and Manchester. So currently the solar program in Connecticut is administered by Eversource and UI. this program called Residential Renewable Energy Solutions took the place of the prior program, which was called RCIP for short, and that one was administered by the Green Bank. But under the new program, they have replaced the old net metering rules, and there are no more upfront incentives for solar, but it's still going strong. And we'll talk about some of the nuances of that. So most of you don't need to know the benefits of solar, but just in case, they can help you lower your utility bill and protect against future price increases. And study after study has shown that solar on a house will increase your home value. So it's a great investment from many different perspectives. And last, but certainly not least, you can help the environment by going solar. You can reduce greenhouse gas emissions as well as other harmful emissions and reduce water consumption. So there are basically three criteria that determines whether your house is right for solar. First is the orientation or direction that your roofs are facing. If your roof is facing south, east, or west, or any combination of that, your house would be suitable for solar, at least from an orientation standpoint. And if the roof, if you have issues with orientation, you can also install a ground mounted system if you have the space. But also important is you have to be relatively free of shade. I've been promoting solar for the last almost 20 years, and sadly, my house is facing the wrong direction and I'm surrounded by tall oak trees. So if your house is not shaded by trees or surrounding tall buildings or even chimneys, it should be very suitable for solar. And finally, the roof condition is very important. It should be less than 10 years into its lifespan and in relatively good shape. If you do need to replace the roof, you can talk to your contractor, and there's a way of bundling the roof replacement with the solar project and recouping some of the expenses as part of the tax credit from the federal government. So we tried to give an average cost of solar in Connecticut. It's come down a lot since we did Solarize here in Southbury. The average price, according to various online sources, ranges between $280 per watt or $320 per watt. And thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, there's a 30% tax credit. It was starting to come down and it was scheduled to disappear, but thanks to the IRA, it's been reinstated for a 10-year period. So it's great to be able to shave that off the cost of your system. And I mentioned that the old net metering plan has been sunsetted, and now you have two different options that are described by the utilities as incentives. One is called buy all and the other is netting. Netting is the version that's closest to the traditional net metering. And importantly, if you're thinking of getting a battery, you must choose netting in order to make things work. But this is a table taken from one of those online sources that illustrates various size systems, what they would cost initially and after the federal tax credit. So I think in Connecticut that the typical system is now inching closer to 10 kilowatts. So that would be an upfront cost of 28,000, but after the tax credit would drop to 19,600. And the typical payoffs for these are between 7 to 9 years. So after that point, you'll be getting free electricity for your house, whatever's produced by the system. One of the challenges finding a solar installer, when we did Solarize campaigns, we worked with the communities to actually select a preferred installer for the campaign. Because of the complexity of solar and batteries and the different options, we conferred with our partners and the Green Bank, and everybody agreed that we shouldn't do that. So you have a little more legwork here. But we always recommend people get multiple quotes and references from the contractors, just as you would for any home improvement project. There is a list of eligible contractors on the Energy Storage Solutions program page. We'll have links for these towards the end. But the importance of that is if you're thinking of getting solar plus storage, you have to work with a contractor from their list. And it's an open list. So if you know somebody who's not currently on it, just ask them to apply. It's a relatively simple process, and they can do that. Or you can ask a friend who has solar. Can I just get a show of hands, people here who have solar already on their house? Okay, I see 3 gentlemen in the back, but you probably know others in your neighborhood even, but talk to them and ask, who did they use? How was their experience? So it's a great way to get, honest references from people you trust. You can also go online and research pricing and read reviews. There are many different services that are equivalent of Yelp for solar. And there's also an online platform called Energy Sage, which was created by the Department of Energy. Basically, this is a service where you enter some basic information and you can get quotes from multiple installers to compare them. And Energy Sage will help you to decipher that. You're not obligated to choose one of them, but it's a very simple way. Instead of you doing the legwork to find a contractor, you can just go through this Energy Sage platform and at least get started with getting multiple quotes. So now we're going to move on to the battery side of the show, because this is newer and a little more mysterious. But if you think about it, we already use batteries in many contexts in our lives, from laptops, cell phones, toothbrushes, cars, landscaping equipment. So rechargeable batteries is nothing new. We're just talking about putting it into a house and using it to power your house in the event of an outage. And it's already been proven to work, but I just want to remind people that batteries are not a brand new technology by any means. So there are also many benefits of having battery storage, namely to get a backup power source if the power goes out. And never used to go out when I was growing up, maybe once in a blue moon, but now it seems like every year we have something, and some of them have been quite extended. It can also help you earn money by selling your power to the grid, as we learned in the little video commercial. You can use clean energy when the sun goes down by storing it and then using it after hours. As you know, solar power, like most renewable sources, is intermittent, and if it's dark out, it generally won't be powering your house unless you have battery backup. If you have a medical device that's critical to keep running, this could be a great thing to add to your house. And lastly, by selling your power to the grid, we can help avoid having to turn on the dirty peaker plants during the hottest days of the summer. So that cuts down greatly on pollution, because those are typically oil or gas plants, and they're also very expensive. So you're helping to kind of lower the cost to keep the grid up and running. So you have a couple of options when buying a battery. You can just buy it outright and not participate in any programs. By doing so, you'll forfeit the state incentives, but you're still entitled to a federal tax credit of 30%. You're free to choose any contractor who is properly licensed, and you can buy any make of battery and use the power however you want to. Alternatively, you can join the Energy Storage Solutions Program. This, as I mentioned, is administered by Eversource, UI, and the Connecticut Green Bank. And you have the benefit here today of a ruling by the state's regulatory authority that was hot off the presses. I literally got it 2 days ago, so I had to redo this slide. The good news is they have increased the incentives. So just to reiterate what you heard in the video, there are actually 3 different incentives, 2 from this state program and 1 from the federal tax credit. But upfront, they've lifted the cap, which video said was only 7,500. It's now up to 16,000 max. And the rate has also increased from, it was 200 for a standard customer, and now it's 250 per kilowatt hour, which is one of the ratings of the battery systems. And then you still can earn money by selling your power to the grid from the battery. The only caveat is you have to use an approved contractor and approved battery type. Both of those are rolling admissions. So as I said, if a contractor wanted to join, they could easily do so. And similarly, a battery manufacturer could get their technology approved. We ran into somebody from Danbury at Cadenza, and they signed up, and it was a very smooth process. So they're also offering tours. So if anybody's interested in or seeing how batteries are manufactured here in Connecticut, you can talk to Patrice or me, and we can try to arrange a tour with Cadenza in Danbury. So I hesitated to whether to use this slide, but I just wanted to illustrate that the number or the number of eligible batteries has grown from 3 at the outset of the program to 10 here. And because a competing program that some of the gentlemen in the back have joined, Connected Solutions, has been sunsetted as of December 1st. There could be other batteries, most notably Tesla Powerwalls, that are added to this list, and customers who've already enrolled in Connected Solutions can seamlessly join the energy storage solutions. We'll have more information on that. We have a meeting with the Green Bank scheduled for next week, and we'll pass that along to Sustainable Southbury so you can see the details on that. But 10 different companies, and they actually have, some of them have multiple models here that are eligible. So I don't expect this slide to mean that much, but I wanted to present it to give you an idea of the average cost of a storage system. The first line is based on kilowatt hours. So a battery is rated both in kilowatts and kilowatt hours. The upfront costs can range from about 15,000 to 35,000, but then you're subject to apply the incentives and the tax credits and so forth. And there are some exalted incentives if you live on the grid edge, and I'll explain that next slide, or if you qualify as a low income customer. The Green Bank has also created a calculator, which is at this web link here, that you can put in the particulars of the system you're considering buying, and you can see specifically before you make any decisions what your incentives might be, and it'll help calculate your payback on a system. So I mentioned Grid Edge, and they created a map that highlights the top 10% of circuits in Connecticut that have had the most storm outages in the past decade, as well as the top 10 circuits who have had the longest storm outages. And you can go to this link and enter your home address to see if you qualify. This is a little portion of the map that includes Southbury. So it's not everywhere in town, but you can see the blue and the red lines will give you an idea. But if you want to know for sure, you just type in your address at this page, and you can see if you qualify. And the advantage of this is your incentives will automatically increase by 50%, because these are the homes that are hardest hit by the storm outages. So this is one of the drivers of the program, one of the criteria that they're trying to address in the state through this program. A lot of people wonder, what size battery do I need? So it's a little different than sizing a solar array for your roof. I would recommend that you speak to your contractor and figure out what's your critical items to have power if the grid goes down. So obviously you want to have your lights work. You want to keep the fridge running. You want to keep your outlets running so you can charge your devices. And there may be other things such as a medical device or other things that are super important to you, but you can talk to your contractor and they can help calculate what size you would need for the essential load. And they would actually probably recommend creating a separate panel so that, if the grid does go down, the separate panel, will take the feed from your battery and keep the lights running, the fridge running, and so forth. And you also want to consider how long you want the backup power to run. Batteries don't last forever. They only have so much capacity, but if it's paired with solar and the sun is shining, as it often is after a storm, you can keep running it day after day with solar plus storage. So here I'm going to present two case studies, if you will, just to give you an idea of how the incentives work. This is regarded a 6 kilowatt system was regarded as small, and for the standard rate, which is people who don't qualify for grid edge or low income, you would be getting $250 per kilowatt hour. So here it's 13 kilowatt hours. Your upfront incentive would be $32.50 off the base price. Then you would apply the 30% tax credit, which can be spread over multiple years if necessary to use all that. And then the PBI estimate is called the performance-based incentive. And this is what you get for selling your power to Eversource. And it's paid to you twice a year after the summer season, and then after the winter season, over a period of 10 years. So in this example, you would be getting a little more than $6,000 for the performance incentive, reducing your net cost to a little over $6,000. If you happen to be on the grid edge, you'd be getting a higher upfront incentive, a little bit lower tax credit because that's applied to the net cost, and the same amount for the performance-based estimate. And your overall net cost is over $1,000 less than the standard household. But then on up for a larger system, which characterized as medium here, the original cost could be in the ballpark of 30 to 35,000. And you can see the combination of the incentives here. So the out of pocket after 10 years would be in the 5,000 to 7,500 range. But again, these are things that you can calculate more accurately using the calculator on the Greenbank's site, which I linked a page or so ago. And you could also talk to the contractor, and they can, make this more accurate, because the different models of batteries cost different amounts. So these are just estimates of, assuming a $35,000 system. And to find a battery storage contractor, again, we recommend multiple quotes. You would refer to the list of eligible contractors. And again, if you want to join the Energy Storage Solutions program, you must work with one of those contractors. If your preferred company is not on there, they could easily apply and get on there. Or you could talk to solar installers if you have solar, or ask a friend who has battery storage. I think all three of the hands that were raised earlier have solar plus batteries right now. So you can talk to them and find out what was their experience, who did they work with, and so forth. And again, you can go on to that Energy Sage platform and get quotes for solar and battery storage, or simply battery storage if that's all you're looking for. But again, you need to make sure that the contractor and the equipment are eligible for Energy Storage Solutions if you want to enroll in that program. So I don't know if anybody has seen the website that we created for Southbury for this program. It's powersmartsouthbury.we with 2 E's.green. And this is intended to be sort of a repository of information about this campaign. You can put your home information in there, and technical consultants that we've hired will contact you and try to answer your questions and help you get started on the path. This will also list future events we're doing with Southbury, testimonials. We hope that all of those happy solar and storage owners in the back will create the videos or written testimonials that we can put on there. We'll also have media articles about the campaign, and most importantly, other resources. And Patrice, did you want to mention something? You have to kind of speak in the microphone, I understand, about special new resources we have.
Hi, everyone. Our friends at People's Action for Clean Energy are the ones who made that video, that 5-minute video that we all saw. They also have come out with 7 booklets about solar, and one in particular about battery storage. And these can all be downloaded. I only have a few printed copies here, 1 each of the 7 booklets, but you can download these from the PACE website. And is the link here? We'll email you all the links, so you'll have those.
It's a wonderful tool. They're very short form, so it's not like a book length or anything, but this answers a lot of basic questions that people have, and pokes holes in myths about solar. and it's very consumer friendly.
Yes. The author used to be a professional storyteller, so she has a way with words and she can make things simple. Thank you.
So we're just going to finish up. I have a couple of slides on, you know, links that are important. I'm not going to read them because you'll fall asleep. But we'll be leaving this with Chuck and friends here, but helpful information about solar and also another one about batteries. There's also a resource document on the website for powersmartsouthbury.we.green. And we'll now open the floor up to questions. And if you guys have any questions after tonight, you can email Patrice or me and we'll do our best to answer them. And if we don't know the answer, we'll ask the experts. But on the previous 2 pages, I did have the person to contact for the battery program as well as the solar program.